We're going to talk about another fascinating Premier League weekend. Nothing changed dramatically for Manchester City or Liverpool, who are the leading teams. But it could have, and both of them came close to having shock results. The other big issue that emerged again at the weekend was the VAR controversy, and I think controversy is the right word now. It's become a shambles. Video assistant referee and football can't get it right in the way that every other sport that uses technology can. I'm joined by John Giles to discuss this. John, we'll come to VAR in a few minutes, but just to look at the matches first. You saw the Liverpool game, and I saw the highlights of it. You saw the whole lot.
Yeah.
On Sky Ireland or whatever it was on. They had a close shave. Aston Villa are a decent side, I think.
Yeah.
Took the lead and held it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
What did you make of Villa for a start? Jack Grealish was injured and couldn't play, and he's one of their better players.
Probably the best player, and Villa were very good in what they did. What their attitude is different to some other clubs who are in their position, that they defend and defend.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas with Villa, to be fair to them, when any chance they had to attack, they attacked, and they really did attack. I mean, even when it was 1-0 and Liverpool were on top and getting them, they made a break, and the goalkeeper and the defenders in the end did very, very well.
Yes.
It was a really good break, and it was 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper did well. So, like a lot of teams in that position, or in their position, sit back, and they sit back for nearly 90 minutes without even looking to score. To be fair to Villa, I think the manager's always, look, when we get a chance to go.
He was at Brentford.
Yeah,
and when he went to Villa, they were 10th in the
league.
Yeah, he's
really good, doing well with the men. He defends, but like I said, most teams they sit back and they defend for nearly the 90 minutes.
Yes.
Whereas when they had to go, even when they were up against it in the second half, they made a break that they might have and had a good chance to make it 2-0. So the Villa did very, very well. It wasn't an easy game for Liverpool. Never is, Eamon, when you're in that situation. What they did well and have done in recent times is to keep their heads, keep playing, keep doing the right things, and not panic.
No,
that's a huge element in any team like Liverpool, or indeed Manchester City or Manchester United in the best days, where they keep doing the right thing. Like a lot of teams, you see them, they used to put the big centre half up there and whop it up into the middle, instead of continuing.
To play the passing game. And to be fair to Dean Smith, who's the Villa coach, I mean, before he went to Villa, he was at Brentford, and he did really well at Brentford. They passing team.
Yeah.
Every game, home or away, you go with the same attitude, and he's brought that to Villa. He's improved Grealish, for example, in a big way, and of course John Terry is there as his assistant.
Yeah,
and Terry has huge pedigree.
He has. Yeah, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't think the manager would have kept him there if he wasn't contributing.
I'm sure he is.
As we know, I mean, Terry was one of the great defenders.
Yeah,
and then you'd have to say, well, is he able to pass that knowledge on? And some people are, some people.
Well, there's a very good indicator of that, John. Tyrone Mings, a central defender. I've watched him for a long time now. He was at Ipswich as a left back. Then he went to Villa. He got a horrible injury. He came back. He's in the team now. He's playing centre half, and he's in the England squad.
Yeah,
he's a very good player, left foot, but a good defender too. All the basics are right. Now, I would say you would hope that John Terry would have a big influence on a player like him.
Yeah. You would imagine so. Eamon. But I've seen it so many times in the past. There were certain players who were assistant at Manchester United, for example, who were saying, "Well, it's he's doing all the work." I remember when Kenny Dalglish actually was at Blackburn, and the coach there, and I heard the coach myself saying, he was doing all the work.
Actually, the coach, he's dead now. God rest him. Ray Harford was a very good friend of mine.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. We did our coaching badge together.
Yeah.
And Ray was very knowledgeable on the game. He was a good player too.
Yeah.
And sadly, he died very young.
Yeah.
But it's always
but
the way.
he said that, Kenny Dalglish. Well, he doesn't do anything.
Well, it's like,
but he took over from Kenny Dalglish. I mean, he was sacked he was sacked within 6 months.
No, but it's like it's like the other time worn one that you've seen John Giles. You think he's a good player. I tell you what, wait till you see his brother. He's better. It was always like that. There's always a guy.
But in football, it was always it was a lot of the managers. It was always the second in command that was doing the work till he took over. In
music, it was.
But we're only talking about John. Get back to John.
In music, you think Bob Dylan is good. Wait to see his little brother. Go on,
or his assistant.
Or his assistant.
Yeah. But I like John Terry. Is there with
absolutely.
So I would say he had despite being a terrific player, a good knowledge of the game to pass on his experience, which would be invaluable to
and as you
anybody.
Say, you never know whether these things are transferable, but there is an interesting indicator. Frank Lampard and the job he's doing at Chelsea now. Lampard and Terry, of course, part of the great Chelsea teams that won. They were winners. And to go back to Liverpool, I was sweating because I thought this is gone pear-shaped. It's a bad result coming after a draw at Old Trafford. But at the same time, I was looking at the screen and Manchester City were 1-0 down at home to Southampton, who'd had 9 put past them. But when I spoke to you, you said, look, Liverpool were good because they kept doing the right things. And in particular, John, when I saw it later on Match of the Day, the influence, every time I watched Liverpool, the influence of Robertson, the left back, he's a real leader. He's a terrific player, but he got the equalising goal. They found a way, as they say. And you were in a great Leeds team. Great teams, champion teams find a way to get the fucking thing in the net.
Yeah, well, I think the way they find the way, Eamon, and I know we've spoken about it before and I've said it many times, you keep doing the right things.
Yeah.
You see, most teams panic.
Yeah, they start
and they hoof the ball, get the big centre-half up there and we'll knock it up in the middle and it's making it easier for the defenders to fire. Whereas if it's the right thing to do in the first 5 minutes, the right thing to do in the last 5 minutes. But the manager has to insist that you continue, in other words, encourage those players, like when Ferguson was at Manchester United with the young players. Do it. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Actually, when I was at Manchester United, Busby used to do it.
Yeah.
Like if we were playing at Manchester, when I was at Manchester United, if we were winning 1-0 and you were going up the second one and you lost one, players come out with their head down and say, don't worry about that. If you're in the same position, I want you to do the same again. Yeah. So they're insisting on doing it. In other words, like with Beckham would stay wide and Giggs would stay wide and to get it out to them and the crowd would be shouting, get it in there. And they keep doing it. And Liverpool have that. And it's not easy to get. It's because the manager has insisted on the time, whether it be Old Trafford or anybody else. That's where they get the late goals, Eamon.
And the players have the character to accept responsibility for what they're doing.
Oh, definitely.
And in the case of Liverpool on Saturday, Mane was huge. He was his cross that Andy Robinson headed in. I did a hell of a lot to do. Robinson. It was a great goal.
Was it Mane that crossed it? Yeah.
It was Mane that crossed it.
Yeah, it was a good cross.
And of course then the other guy who played really well was Alexander.
Oh, he was excellent, Damon. His distribution in the match was as good as I've seen from a midfield player.
Yeah.
Especially
which he was before he switched to full back. He still defends like a midfield player.
I didn't know. He doesn't defend like one, but coming forward, like he hit about at least half a dozen crosses from right back to Robertson on the left side.
Yeah.
His distribution was excellent. Of course, Mane's ball for Robertson and Robertson. As you said with Robertson's a terrific player.
He is, yeah.
And he's always been a good player, Eamon, because I think we were amazed when he came down from Scotland at a short price to Hull.
He did, and we saw him play for Scotland against Ireland in the Euro qualifier about 5 or 6 years ago. He was brilliant in the away. I think the match was at Celtic Park, but it was he really played well. But he and Harry Maguire, were in the same Hull team that got relegated.
Got relegated, yeah.
And Maguire went for 17 million. Robertson went to Liverpool for 8 million, which is a steal.
Yeah, but it was, I tell you what happened there, Eamon, as well, that they got him so cheaply. It would have been in the player's contract.
Right.
If they go down, this is the figure.
Right.
And that's why Maguire went so cheaply.
Yeah.
And Robertson went so cheaply. But what's amazing when you look back on it, he was out of the team for 12 months.
He was, it took a long time to get break through.
Was it Moreno?
Moreno, yeah.
In left back, you know what I mean?
It was a disaster.
It was a disaster. But anyway, that doesn't matter. He's doing now. But he's a terrific lad. His attitude is great. He doesn't, no messing about with him. He gets on with the job. He's up and down that pitch.
Yeah.
It must take a lot of energy and fitness to do what he does. And unlike Alexander, he defends better.
Well,
he's a defender as well.
Yeah,
you know, like he's really a top class player. But Alexander's distribution has always been good, but it was excellent on at the weekend.
Mane, this is a guy who played in the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
Didn't have any rest, didn't have any pre-season really. Came back. He's in the side. He looks to me to have improved immensely from what he was. He cost 32 million when he came from Southampton, which he's proved his worth. I mean, I think if you wanted Real Madrid are interested, the big clubs are watching him now because he's tough. He doesn't need 3 chances to take. And he's actually making goals now.
Yeah, he's a real player, Eamon. He's improved, as you say. He's in a better team than he was in at Southampton. I just hope that the coming back quickly doesn't catch up with him.
Well, me too, and Klopp.
You know what I mean? Because I think you can come back from the previous season. You're okay. It's whether your body then gives out on you as you get into Christmas or beyond. That's the problem that could arise. But it's happened before. I mean, I had a little bit of experience myself coming back when I played in South Africa years and years ago. I came back and it was great because I didn't need much pre-season training.
Yeah.
But around Christmas time afterwards, I got a couple of injuries then that I didn't expect.
And Liverpool have a horrendous programme. They've 8 games in December. They have to go to the World Club Championship, which is a semi-final and a final in Qatar in the middle of December or New Year's Day, whatever it is. It's really, really bad that has to happen, but it has to happen. They've got to deal with it.
And the problem with that is not a problem. If you weren't so successful, you wouldn't be in these.
I know that. Now, let me ask you.
They have to live with it. They have to live with it, unfortunately. But it's like what, again, it's the clubs. You know, it's a money maker. It's a big money maker for.
At his press conference on Friday, Jurgen Klopp said, "We're asking far too much of our players." Yeah. And Guardiola has said exactly the same. Everyone knows this now. Yeah. We're demanding too much of our players because we're asking them really to play. If it isn't the European finals or the World Cup finals, now they introduced the Nations Cup. Yeah. So they're wringing the money out of
definitely,
players.
But it doesn't cost them anything, Eamon.
No.
The people who organise these particular competitions, they're just making use of the players. You know, they form new competitions. They can form as many competitions as like, but they're not even paying the players.
Let me ask you about Salah. They took him off. Klopp took him off on Saturday. Now he's another player who went right to the death in the African Cup of Nations, and he's a brilliant player. And this time last week, I think we were saying how much he was missed from the Liverpool team against Manchester United, because when he's on, he's a brilliant player. How did he play on Saturday?
He didn't play well.
No,
he didn't play well. He's. I find with Salah, his main thing is scoring goals. You know, he's a brilliant player, but his main thing is the scores he scores. And
pace is...
Yeah, but that's what gets him into the goal-scoring positions. But I always find with Salah, there's very, very little room for error.
Yeah, it's little touches.
In his finishing.
Yeah.
It has to be absolutely immaculate all the time. Yeah. He makes half a yard and he's knocking it in with the inside of his left foot. Yeah. And if he's slightly off... Yeah, like I think there was a couple of times last year, for example, he got through and his second touch wasn't as good by maybe 2 or 3 feet to knock it past the keeper. You know, like it has to be bang on all the time in what he's doing.
And of
he's
course,
not. It doesn't even look good. You know what I mean? He had a chance there with the inside of his left foot at the weekend, and he knocked it miles
wide, yeah,
high over the bar. You know, he's you have to live with him in that. And he delivers. But I think what happens in a situation like Liverpool, like Klopp couldn't afford to wait.
No.
You know, I think he had to say, look, he's not on his game today.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of defenders and goalkeepers now knowing what his trick is. He's in on his left foot and he's looking for the far corner.
Yeah, but when he does it well, Damon, they can't do anything.
No, they can't do anything.
You know, it's mostly him
yeah.
that's not doing it right, rather than the goalkeepers that are reading him. You know, that's the way he is. But you have to live with him. You know, like all players. Well, most players have their faults, and he just has spells where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's still hugely valuable player. Now, Manchester City 2-1 at home to Southampton, and they had a lot of the ball, as they always do. They went 1-0 down. Ederson, the goalkeeper, spilled a shot. You know.
Yeah, I didn't see that much.
No, it was a bad mistake. For
which is
someone
unlike him, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
he's a terrific goalkeeper, but everybody makes mistakes. And they got 1-0 up, Southampton, and clearly having lost 9-0 at home the previous week, there was a lot of pride at stake, and they fought and they fought and they fought, and City had a hard time breaking them down. They took them until the 70th minute to score, and that was the first shot they'd had on target. Would you believe? But Aguero scored, but he missed a few, and he was mad at himself. Now the thing about City, John, looking at them, and it's a huge game coming up next Sunday. At the back, they don't look good, and in midfield, they don't look great at the moment.
They've never looked great at the back. I mean, you know, but I didn't see the match. But if you're talking about Southampton doing what they're doing, it is a very, very difficult thing to win when you get a team defending well and a goal up, and there's a lot of pressure on. Now, obviously, with City, to be fair to them over the years, I think Guardiola has instilled in them what Klopp has instilled in them: keep playing and playing. And many times have we seen Liverpool, City over the years, score late goals. And when you're in a situation like that, actually, there'll be more pressure on City than Liverpool. They're playing at home against a team that was beaten 11, whatever it was, 9-0 the week, and you have to keep at it. But they did it. I didn't see it, but they actually did it in the end. So they got the 3 points, as Liverpool did at Villa. But
when you were playing for Leeds, and lots of football lovers like myself were slagging Leeds, saying you were tough, hard, weren't like Manchester United. There wasn't a lot of flair in that. One week you went out and you hammered the team 7-1. Who was it? I know that, Southampton. And you were doing little flicks and everything. That was just to say.
A lot of people remember that as the match. Actually, it'd be the least of my memories, because it was easy and it was exhibition. But anyway, it's the big thing in a game playing is when you're playing the likes of Southampton at home and you're a goal down with 20 minutes to go, and the crowd. I shout, get it up the pitch. What are you doing? You're messing around. And that's the hard part. And to be fair to Liverpool, they came through that because and Manchester City came through it against Southampton. But it's hard. It's one of the hardest positions you can be in against a team that everybody expects you to lose. And you're not doing it. But I mean, they got there in the end. They got the 3 points, as Liverpool did.
Now, John, want to go on to VAR, but before we do, we didn't talk about Chelsea last week and what Frank Lampard is doing there. They went to Watford, got 2-0 up. A fabulous first goal. The ball played in by Jorginho, actually, without looking into his space, and Abrahams was on it. Abraham, rather, was onto it, scored a really good goal. It looked to me like a goal they talked about or practiced on the training ground.
I'm not sure you can practice that. I mean,
you'd create an awareness in Abraham's mind, for example, or in Jorginho. Say, look, if you get in X position, whip it in, but maybe not.
No, I think Jorginho would have seen it, before he got it.
Right.
You know, I think he would have had a look up and think,
he'd had a picture
like
in
all
his
good
mind.
players,
Yeah.
he'd have a picture before it came to him.
Yeah.
If this comes quickly enough, I'll be able to bend it round there. And what was very good was Abraham, his touch to get it what he did. Actually, they should have been 4 up.
Yeah,
The match should have been all over.
He's done a good job there, Frank.
I think he's done a very good job.
In the circumstances, without our friend Kante, you know, who we think probably is the best player in the world, very close to it anyway, and he's been injured, but he's got on with things. He's given the players like Mason Mount, like Abraham, and Pulisic, who's scored a hat-trick last week, who's
scored again,
American.
He
scored again. I'm not sure. The hat-trick he scored wasn't great, but it was still 3 goals.
He might be one of those finishers, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know, he might be going to see, looking at the goal he scored, he did read it well. You know, there was about 4 Watford players getting back and he picked the right spot to get in between. It doesn't happen by accident, that.
No.
He might be that type of player that you say, well, he doesn't look very good, but he scored another 2 today, or whatever. It looks like that way to me, that he could be a finisher.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get in the game much, as you say, in the general play. He didn't get into it very much. But you know, that's 4 goals he scored in 2 matches.
All he does is score goals.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yesterday, Everton, Spurs haven't won away from home since January. Got a goal up, and Everton are really struggling. And then there was this, they got an equaliser, Everton, in the end. But the end was a long time coming because of all the overtime.
Yes.
There was 3 VAR incidents, but one in particular was really shocking. Gomez, Portuguese midfield player, Everton, Son tackled him, and he went down. It was a terrible. It was so bad they didn't want to show it on television, the full extent of it. But it looked like a serious injury. It turns out he's broken his ankle badly. And Son was initially given a yellow card by Martin Atkinson, and then he changed it to a red card on the basis that the injury was really bad. Now, Son broke down in tears. He's not a dirty player.
No, not at all.
And he didn't do anything except maybe mistime a challenge.
Yeah. No, it's. I felt sorry for both of them. I mean, for somebody to get a broken leg is terrible. But for Son's case, I mean, Son is as honest as can be.
Yes.
He's the last person that would do anything like that. It was very, very sad, and the reaction of the Everton players was excellent.
Yeah, Seamus Coleman, who wasn't playing, but particularly him. Yeah,
Seamus knows he went through it himself.
He did with a very similar
situation.
In Aviva,
and it was again like you see players that having a go at each other and verbally and physically on the pitch. But when something like this happens, there's a mutual sympathy, if that's the right expression, Eamon, for the fellow pros to receive such a bad injury is awful.
Now that brings us to the subject of VAR, because in that instance, they went to VAR, and I'm sure it will feature in the appeal that I'm sure some will put in against that red card.
Yes, but
also in that game there was a couple of incidents. And in the Watford game, Chelsea 2-0 up, coasting, and Delafeu, who came on for Watford as a sub, actually, he bought a penalty late in the game, and it went to VAR. He clearly dived, and in the slow motion, it looked as if he'd been tripped, but it was a very bad decision. And all over the weekend, we're looking at stuff that, we don't know. For example, let's take another incident involving Dele Alli. He's back in his own box. The ball's crossed. He goes up to win the ball. The Everton centre-half, Mina, goes up with him, nudges him, the ball brushes his arm. Now, it's not a penalty at all, but they take ages to decide.
To look at it, yeah.
Now, Martin Atkinson was the referee. No one in the stadium knew what this was about, right? He had been alerted by Stockley Park, where another referee, in this case, as it happens, Anthony Taylor, who's not great either. Atkinson is not my favourite referee. But the whole thing was a mystery. Nobody knew what it was about. This is not working, John, is it?
Well, it's not.
And we were both in favour of it.
Well, I'm still in favour of it, Eamon.
Yeah, well, I am too, but only working properly.
Yeah, but I think we probably have to go through these things, Eamon, to get it right. You know, I know it's taken a long time, and but as you said, nobody knew what was going on. That can be put right. There's lots of things can be put right in it. I know what you're saying. There's lots of things happening in it that's very, very, very bad.
Everyone in the ground was mystified. In fact, it was people sitting at home had a better chance because they could see on the television replay.
Yes, yeah.
But the point I'd sort of put to you is, let's try and see what you could do to put that right.
I don't think it's that complicated. I mean, if they tell them in the stadium and comes up on the big screen, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah,
it can be put right. Anything. I'm totally in favour of VAR. I think you were as well.
Yeah.
I still am, and I don't agree with lots of things that's happening. But I don't think there's anything in it that can't be put right. And it's only common sense. You say we didn't know what was happening. Well, let people know what's happening.
Well, the question then is,
put it up on the big screen. This is what's happening.
Well, in rugby, what they do is they put it up on the big screen. Mm. The referee on the field says, my on-the-field decision is a try. Mm. Is there any reason why I shouldn't give a try?
Yeah.
And everyone in the stadium then knows what the issue is.
Yes.
And the guy up in the box either says, no try because of... Or he says, no, you can award a try. Yeah. Now, soccer needs to do that.
Well, there's no reason why we can't do it, Eamon. You know, did rugby do that straight away when it came into it?
Yes.
Now, did they have it perfect when they? Not what I can remember. There was quite a few controversies about it.
I think they did.
Till they got it right. Well, you're only thinking, you know.
I'm only thinking. Yeah, I don't recall.
But what you're saying with rugby is absolutely right. It doesn't matter whether they got it right from the start. That's what they got it. There's no reason why soccer can't do that.
But they're not showing any signs. Well,
let
me put it this way.
Yeah.
The first sign that you're going to put things right is that you admit that there's a problem.
Yes.
And they aren't admitting
it.
No,
but they will.
They will.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
They definitely. I mean, if you can relate or say to me, this is the way rugby works. You see, this is new. It's new to football.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be better than it is. I agree with that. And there are definitely things that need to be put right. But I can't see anything there that can't be put right.
Well, I can. And here it is. Mm. You saw the Liverpool game, and I saw it on Match of the Day.
Yeah.
Firmino was ruled offside, and a goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
The line they drew showed that the only part of Firmino that was slightly ahead of the defender was his armpit. Mm. Now, you can't score with your armpit, as far as I know.
Well, they say your armpit, but you can score with the outside of your arm. I mean, it doesn't have to be your arm.
You saw that decision. Mm. I think the offside decisions in particular are very important, but maybe we need a new rule. You can't say because his big toe or his armpit or a hair on his head, you just can't, John.
Well, in other words, they are doing it. I mean, now to be fair here, if that happened to Liverpool, and you're a Liverpool supporter, you wouldn't be against. Like, it's gone both ways to films. You know, if that's the rule, then next week it could go in Liverpool's favour.
Yeah,
that's far. We're seeing things that we wouldn't have seen before.
Yeah,
that's what it's there for. Now, there's some you'd say, well, geez, that's a bit like his right foot was only in front of the ball. But if that's the rules, that's the rules. Isn't it better than saying afterwards, if you go back, say there was no VAR and it was allowed, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget, BBC or whoever's doing the match would show that. Forget about VAR, they would show that, right? And the Villa supporters, did you see that?
Yeah.
His arm was in front of the.
I don't. Now, this is where I have a problem. I think sometimes you don't need VAR. And
but when are you going to know that? When are you going to know the times you don't need it, Eamon?
Well, go back to its terms of reference, and this is what they are. When the referee has made a clear and obvious error, that's what VAR is for. Now, a clear and obvious error, you could argue, was giving a red card to Son for his challenge on Gomez. Hold on a minute.
Hang on, let's stick to what we're talking about.
Well, the offside, the armpit.
The armpit,
okay.
Right.
His armpit being in front is not a clear and obvious error in my book.
Well, it showed it on the television. It was. On the VAR, it was. You say his armpit. He didn't do it with his armpit, Eamon. He did it with his arm. No, he didn't put his armpit up. He didn't hit his armpit.
They drew the line, right? They draw a line.
Yeah.
And to show where the offside, why the offside.
Yeah.
And when they drew the line, it reached his armpit. It reached his armpit.
It reached his armpit. But that's what, if you're leaning forward, which you did, right? You're not going to get the ball hitting your armpit. It's either you've got your arm up there, which is hitting your arm. Like, I saw it afterwards. There's no complaint to the Liverpool people afterwards.
No, they won.
They won. But if it's in, but what I'm saying is, if that happens, but that happens to everybody. That could happen to Liverpool one week. Could happen. If you stop that, right, the VAR on Saturday and disallowed that goal, and VAR wasn't there, and BBC showed it. All right, Sky showed it, right? Thousands of the Villa fans would say, "Do you see that?
Yeah,
that was a definite penalty."
Right. Okay. Well, for now,
it's not perfect. Give it. I think it'll improve.
They had 104 minutes of play. That's 14 minutes of overtime at Goodison Park because of all the fluttering around with VAR. Sometimes,
there's the injury. The injury took up more time.
The injury took up some time as well.
A lot of time.
Yeah, that was a very bad incident. Yeah. But I'm for VAR, but they're going to have to.
They have to improve it, Eamon. I agree with you. They have to improve it, but I wouldn't give up on it. And it's in its early days yet. If tennis can do it, and cricket can do it, and rugby, as you say, can do it, they'll get it right. In my opinion,
you have more faith in the football authorities than I do. Well, final question.
Okay,
Jamie Vardy, John. Top goal scorer in the league, as we say here talking this morning. He's a wonderful scorer. Yeah. He scored a great goal again. Not a spectacular goal, just his positioning, his pace. He's 32 now. But watching Leicester rather, do a job on Crystal Palace, not spectacular, but 2-0. Very, very good team, John.
They're very good, Eamon. Yeah,
and he is particularly
good
player.
At times. The match, the match was, but Vardy in many ways is a very underrated player.
Yeah,
he's always been second to Harry Kane. Or second to Dele Alli.
He's retired now from international football, which is a big loss.
I think it is, but I think he's right too. I think he's not regular in it.
Yeah,
and I think he's always been an underrated player because he's come late.
Yes,
and he's come from the lower divisions. Yeah. And people don't seem to. A lot of people, don't seem to accept what he is.
He came from non-league football, John. You know.
A lot of players looked at him, so he came late at it, but he reads the game well. I mean, the England team, I would definitely have him up front.
Yes.
He's
a perfect foil for Kane, isn't he?
Definitely, but he doesn't seem to be rated as highly, in my opinion, as he should be. He's an intelligent player. He's exceptionally quick.
Yeah.
His control is good. His touch is good.
Yeah.
He's a terrific player. And I think it's because he hasn't been one of the glamour boys, as it were, that he has been accepted for what he is, in my opinion. I don't think he should ever have been, in the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I don't think he should ever have been out of the England team. And I don't think he should be out of it now.
Right now. Okay, John, final question. Manchester City travel to Anfield next Sunday. The bookies make Manchester City 6-4 favourites and Liverpool are second favourites. If you are having a bet, who would you back?
Well, I don't.
Who would you back?
I would back Liverpool.
Big time.
I don't. You say to me, you have a bet more than I do. That the bookies don't get it wrong. I can't see how Manchester City can be favourites going into next week.
No, me neither. I think that's a good thing for those of our listeners who like a bet.
Yeah.
You can get Liverpool at 7-4 now. You heard it.
Don't ask. No, I'm not encouraging them. You're telling them to do that.
I am.
I'm giving you my opinion
Heard it on
as a non-betting man.
You heard it first